Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Montetrifoni today, to our beautiful backyard. Not finished, but
Getting there
getting there.
one day.
So we may be half asleep, or at least me, because I'm still tired. And you notice that we're a little bit rugged up because it's still spring. It's not summer yet, and today's one of those days where it's a little bit cooler. So it's going to be 18 today, but it's about, I think, 13 or 14 at the moment, and we've got a beautiful breeze off the mountains.
And we're under our fig tree. So today we're going to talk about €1 homes, and I think most importantly our take and our opinion on €1 homes. I guess everyone else has their opinion out there, and we haven't really talked about this. So yeah, I think today is the day.
So the €1 home scheme, it's as Fiorella was saying, everyone's got different opinions. So in a way, it's sort of controversial, but it doesn't need to be. It's sort of ridiculous that I think some major news stations in America like to play up the drama of it, but
it can be a big clickbaity as well.
It's total clickbait. So it's very simple. I mean, you have a town that wants to attract people, and it wants to bring people into houses that are empty, and by using the €1 as a gesture or a token, or I mean, these houses, which we're going to talk about, do not cost €1. Yes, they are €1, but you don't pay €1, and you can't expect to just pay €1 for a house. You're always going to have legal costs if you use a lawyer, but if you don't, you're going to have minimum of notary costs. So I believe the €1 home scheme is an excellent way of bringing people to these towns, of showing people where these towns are, of putting them on the map. And I feel like it's a great way to repopulate a town, at least get it started, and make use of these homes that may not have been used for 10, 20, 50, 100 years. And there's been many towns that have had a lot of success with it, and there've been other towns which have had less, but there are sort of some reasons for that.
I think, and people ask us frequently, not particularly about the €1 homes, but they mention, will I be welcomed in a small community in Italy? Are they friendly? Are they open? And I think the €1 homes are kind of like a hub that tells you, or a place that tells you, we are open, we are willing. So even though other towns, of course, could be open and willing, these ones are in particularly telling you, we want you here, we need you here.
Yeah. So they do have a focus on, they know it's not about just attracting Italians. If they attract Italians, fine, but they're more realistic, thinking that it's foreigners. So people like you and me that come from Australia, America, Canada, South Africa, England, wherever, New Zealand. Sorry, New Zealand.
They tend to get left behind.
Yeah. So, it tends to be focused on people like us for a reason, and one of the reasons is that Italians generally, like actually Australians that want to live in Sydney. People migrate to Sydney, or they migrate to Melbourne in Australia, or Brisbane. Big cities, and Brisbane is growing all the time. They don't migrate to smaller towns. And that's the same as here, and it's probably the same as in America. I'm sure there's a lot of small towns that are dying.
Yeah.
Japan is exactly the same.
So the way we see it is that the initiative is fantastic. As Aidan said before, it is a way to put on the map a town. in Italy, there are more than 8,000 comunes, so more than 8,000 municipalities. And when someone is considering moving to Italy or buying a holiday place or whatever it is, and if you don't have family here, if you don't have a focus, how do you choose? Is overwhelming to choose. So these towns, as I said before, they're saying, "Hey, we're here. We want you. Here is the name of our town. Come and check us out." So that's one thing. Whether the houses are a good investment or a good choice, we think everything has to be considered individually. Look at one house and analyze whether it's good for you. The next house may be better. The next house may be worse. So Aiden just hates the nata. What do you call nata in English?
The skin.
The
When the coffee gets the skin.
The skin of the milk.
Freaks me out.
So there are great deals. There are other houses that perhaps are not so much so. That's the problem of these news outlets putting this information out there and saying, this person bought a €1 home and renovated it for 450,000 US. Like, what are people that are not reading the whole article or that are not getting information from other places? What are they going to think?
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely different levels of what people want. You know, there's a good example of a lady who bought a €1 home. I can't remember her name. She bought it, I think, in Musameli, but I at least know it's in Sicily. She started off with one small part of a building, and then I think she bought the next door, and then she kept sort of going, but she has then renovated that house to such a high level that I think she has ended up spending 350,000 plus euros, if not 450, I can't remember, but that was her choice, and the house looks incredible, it looks spectacular. I do believe she lives there permanently, that she's not just holidaying. So what one spends on a house like that totally depends on, again, what you want to use it for, but also where you come from in the world. I mean, if you come from New York, where you own an apartment of 2.5 million in the Upper West Side, well, you know, spending 400,000 on a house that maybe your holiday home for 3 months, and then a holiday home for your friends,
or eventually a retirement home.
Yeah, isn't a lot of money. However, if you come from a place where it might be a different state in the US, where an average price of a house is 200,000, then spending 400,000 on a holiday home might be ridiculous or overpriced.
Impossible.
It's really relative to those.
To where you come from and your position and your expectations.
Yeah.
Another point that we wanted to bring up is that because of us receiving so many emails and queries about what do we know about the €1 homes and so on, and because sometimes it can be difficult to find the information, we thought, okay, let's do something about it. Rossini and Co. perhaps could do something about it, create a system, a way of helping people like you that are interested in these houses to get the information. Maybe we can help streamline the process. And the reason why we believe this is because, okay, we are outsiders. So we look at the process, how the process works on the inside. We speak English. We love processes and establishing lines that work better and that are more efficient. So, and we're passionate about it. First and foremost, I think that's the first thing. And we wanted to do that for you guys, to help you out and to help these communities, for you to get together. However,
you may have already come across this, because we came across this when we were back in Australia, is that when you find out about one of these €1 communities, you email them, or before you even email them, you have to find the email. But you go to you go to the website of the comune, which might be really difficult to traverse, which in most situations is the case. So let's just say you were able to email them and you don't get a reply, and there's nowhere to call, and you don't feel comfortable to call because you don't speak Italian and you don't even really know what to ask. I mean, it can be a genuine nightmare, really. So in that situation, we had that, and pretty much I think we gave up. I mean,
nothing came to fruition, so we moved on.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, there's €1 homes, great, but we can't get in touch, or maybe there's too many. And once you see a program on one of the major US stations or the major Australian stations, and you know that it's got 5 million views, you pretty much feel like, okay, there's going to be no homes left after that, which could be true or could not be true. This is a big problem, and one of the reasons for this is it's not because the comunes don't want to enact this system, this new model. They want the €1 homes to sell, and they want people to come to the towns. The problem is, I mean, there's multiple problems, but one of them is that there's a lot of bureaucracy in Italy. But one of the big things is that these comunes are generally understaffed. They have one person who is wearing multiple hats. They have papers on the desk piled high.
And often in multiple communities as well. It's not one full-time job in for this office in that commune. No, so that person goes around.
Can serve other communes. So they're doing their work there, and then they go to another town. I mean, that in itself is, difficult. So they may not even open any of those emails.
To circle back to where we were seeing whether we could offer a service for you, and we were in touch with a few different communes that offer this program. We decided it's just not possible. So the same way you may not receive a response from your emails, for us, even though we're here, even though we're physically going there, and they're beautiful and they're open and they're helpful, they're passionate and grateful about the fact that we're there, the lag of communication between one question and the answer is just too long for us to be able to offer a service to you.
It's just not something that we feel confident in providing, because we can't guarantee that we can get answers for you, that we can get any solutions, or
you will just get frustrated, and that's the last thing that we want.
And we notice that people that are contacting us are generally pretty ruthless. You guys really want answers, which we understand.
We've been there.
We've been there. But if we can't provide those answers, or if we can't sort of do our job on our channel with our publicity, we feel it's not a job that we want to take on. In saying all of that,
I'm super excited about this part.
Yeah. in prefacing all of that with, I wouldn't say the negative, but maybe the
reality check.
The reality check, the practicalities. We want to introduce this town called Sant'Elia.
Sant'Elia.
No, Sant'Elia.
We used to say Sant'Elia, and then people said, no, Sant'Elia.
Sant'Elia, yeah.
Sant'Elia a Pianisi.
So maybe you can just remember St. Elmo's Fire, that awesome movie of the 80s. Sant'Elia. So,
do you have more coffee?
I'm okay with coffee.
Okay.
Although I think I'm going to have a pasticciotto.
Pasticciotto break.
Yeah. Would you like one?
I don't know. I prefer it with tea. I prefer everything with tea. Okay, I have to show the guys the pasticciotto. So pasticciotto is typical of Puglia. It's like leche, right? It's like a pastry, special to leche in Puglia. But our local bakery makes it. Look, this bakery we hit the jackpot in this town
love
with
our
having this bakery.
We love those guys there.
Ciao, Lorenza, Nicola,
Hola.
if you're watching. Can you see this? Where am I? Yes.
So, and it is basically like a little boat that's filled with custard. And the most famous one is custard and a
Amarena.
amarena, which is
Is it cherry?
cherry. Yeah.
It's like a type of.
It's like amarena. Anyway, so let's talk about this town, Sant'Elia.
Sant'Elia.
Sant'Elia. Oh my God, I can't say it. Sant'Elia. It launched the €1 program about 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really ever.
Like taken off. I mean, the houses are there, the structure and the procedures are there. If I was to say what the problem is, and I think we have to call a spade, the problem, well, let's not say a problem. The issue, I feel, is the lack of commitment from the buyers. Because, and we will tell you the steps to be able to purchase one of these homes, I think.
But that commitment, that lack of commitment can be sometimes justified, but yeah.
Yeah. So the houses are there, and there are people that have followed the processes up to a certain point, and then they don't make the final step. So you have other people thinking, okay, I didn't get this house, I'm not going to apply, but the person in front of the line that actually was awarded the house is not doing anything. So there is a lot of houses there that we know of that are in this situation. On top of that, they have like a change of staff. So the person that was taking care of the program is not taking the program anymore, and the new person is kind of having to deal with all that plus her normal job. And she was great, by the way. She was beautiful.
Yeah, she's terrific.
She was so generous with her time. So they're trying to, like, let's say, pick up the program again, like revitalize the program.
Revitalize it, yeah. So that's where we came along, and they were happy to talk to us, and we were happy to go to the town, talk to them, meet a few people. We've had some coffees, we've eaten at the town, and we've now looked through a few houses. So most likely the best way of going about this is actually, I would say, to come to Italy and go to the town.
So Sant'Elia has about 11 houses at the moment that are part of the €1 home program. And we did a couple of houses, videos, which are going to be coming up. These houses, we could not believe that they were part of the €1 home program.
Yeah, so these two houses that we've done,
In particular, these two.
are basically livable.
Look, when we say livable, when we say move-in ready, when we use these expressions, it's usually because of a couple of things. Because they are, if someone was to connect the electricity, they could live in, and water, they could live in, or because the electricity and water is already connected, or because we think, yeah, one could live here. And that comes from our experience. Because the other day, and I don't really like bringing up the negative comments and the nasty people at all. But someone said, will you live there? Like this person was really rude about one of the houses, and we thought, yeah, we will live there. We lived in the house we were in for a few days without electricity. We slept on the floor on mattresses. So it depends. I think if you are going to purchase a €1 home, or if you are in the lower budget for a home, there are some compromises and some sacrifices that you need to be willing to do.
Yeah, and it's fun anyway.
It's like camping.
Think of it like camping indoors, like glam. These two particular houses are I just made enough for two though. So she's out of coffee. I'll have to keep speaking. So these two particular houses were pretty incredible. One had a huge backyard and great features, but it had a few stairs. Like it was a little bit of a
Bit of a maze.
bit of a maze, not quite a labyrinth, but a bit of a maze, and needs some sort of reworking. But at the moment, you know, you can lock the door and live there. I don't know. It didn't have a kitchen though. I mean, it didn't have.
It did. Yeah, it has a sink, but and again, oh my God, we can talk about so many things.
Yeah.
What's a kitchen? We always say to people,
Yeah,
what is a kitchen?
I mean, a kitchen, you don't even have to put a stove and a burner in. You can just get a 2-burner that, like a camping stove that sits on a table. I mean,
And that's how they do it,
there's
yeah.
your kitchen, you know, with the sink.
Yep.
So probably the sink is the most important thing. But the other house was, we thought we could have bought this like straight away if we didn't have too many things going on already. But
We thought twice about doing the showing you the video for this
yeah,
one.
we
Actually,
thought, oh, do we really want to show this video? Because do we want to buy this, or, you know, do we want to offer this first to
our clothes.
to family, to family and friends, because it was such a find. But
And I think many people were willing, but they say, I want to see it first. So by the time they come,
Yeah.
who knows if it's going to be there, especially after we post the video.
yeah, and we want to get people into the town, and we want to get these houses, new families. So so the first one we saw, the one without the land, was, I mean, is a spectacular house. It's 3 stories. It's got tons of character.
1.5 bathrooms,
1.5 bathrooms.
a garage,
Yeah.
like slash cantina, but you could
Yeah.
use it as a garage.
Yeah, probably would use it not as a garage, but as a big, beautiful open room. So, I mean, this house. So it's €1.
Balconies.
Oh yeah, it's got balconies. Anyway, then apart from those 2 houses, which were amazing, we saw a 3rd house, which was a ruin, right?
Yeah.
You would call it a ruin. I mean, it's one of the oldest houses in the town.
It's the stone on the outside,
it's
beautiful.
It's all stone, and it could be combined with other homes, with other parts to make it bigger, but it wasn't huge, but it needs a lot of work. So.
And that's one of the reasons we say, look, don't believe everything you hear. Someone says, all the houses are ruins. All the houses, like, why would you buy a €1 home? There, you just buy. You need to look at everything in individually.
Yeah.
For example, the 2 houses that you were talking about, the ones that are livable, one of them, the roof is new, and the other one, half of the roof is new. Like, have you heard that before when someone says, you have to spend so much money? No, like, look at everything in context. Please, context is so important. Context and personal responsibility when you're thinking of buying a house abroad or moving. It is probably the 2 main ingredients that you're going to need to make a decision.
Yeah, so you have to look at these houses. You have to get all the information you can. If you need to get it checked out by someone, you get it checked out, and you make your own decision. And I mean, don't listen to these negative comments from people or organisations or news outlets that, first of all, have maybe never been to Italy, maybe never been to these small towns, maybe never seen a €1 home, except for interviewing somebody who spent $400,000 on one. So you have to look for yourself. So in saying that, the houses can go from, you know, almost nothing needs to be done to make it livable. Of course, you're going to renovate. You're going to do some works. You're going to do some paintings. You're going to painting work. You're going to have it personalize it. Yes, well, we looked at a 4th one, which was had earthquake damage. So that particular house needed, major works. And yes, is that worth looking at? Well, you're paying €1 for a home.
And it also depends, like if I had enough money and I fall in love with something, so what?
Does that
I
house
may
have
have,
what you need?
yeah, I may have people in my ear telling me, that's a bad thing. If I have the money to spare and I like that particular spot in town, that particular outlook, I just go for it.
Yeah. You then just have to make a project. You get a geometer or an architect, and put the project into the commune, and then
Bob's your uncle.
that's it. Of course, in that instance, you're going to spend more money, but what's more money? You're talking about a house. So if you then had to spend, let's say 100,000 on that project to finish, well, you've then spent 100,001 euros. That's a house. What can you get in Australia? Tell me, Australians, what can you buy for $100,000?
I don't even think that out on the whoop whoop you can get
No.
a house, like no, not even, yeah.
Not even the small towns. And we've owned a house
In a very small
very
town.
remote town in Queensland.
Was
So-
that far north Queensland? Not quite
No,
far
that
north
was far
Queensland.
north Queensland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Far north Queensland, and
Far
it wasn't that.
But it wasn't a touristy town either. Anyway,
Talking about Sant'Elia in particular and what the process is like, everything is on their website, and we're going to link the website on the description section of this video. So we also have some suggestions, let's say, on €1 homes on our website as well. So I'm going to link that right here. With Sant'Elia, pretty much what we were told is this. The information is on our website, and I found that document in English actually, but it may be on certain things, maybe only in Italian. But these days, Google Translate is amazing. Just copy, paste, and translate the whole thing. It's at least for a preliminary stage. If you do want to go ahead, maybe just get a translator, so that a professional translator, so that you know exactly what they're talking about. But pretty much the process is that you apply for a home based on a system, a point system, right? So there are different questions. Are you going to be in the house full time, or is it a holiday, or are you going to open a business, or are you going to use local tradesmen? How much money do you expect you're going to spend on the renovations of your home, and so on and so forth? So there are a few items, and based on your answer, they're going to give you points. So obviously they will give more points to the person that wants to live in the house full time, and not just the holiday home and so on. So once the applications are received, pretty much you could constantly apply for this. It's not like there is an expiration date or anything like that. You go to the website, you see a home, then you can apply for it. Each home actually has, some of them have pictures, but all of them have the plans, the floor plans, so that you can get a little bit of understanding on how they work. So it's very comprehensive, the information they provide for each home. Now, every 60 days, the team at the commune gets together in a meeting, and they go through the applications of the last 60 days, and they award the homes to the person with the highest number of points, like what we mentioned before, and only that person is contacted. So, Elisa. So everyone else on that list, or everyone else that applied, if they're not awarded that home, they're not going to be contacted. So let's say just the winner will receive an email.
but there may not be a bunch of people. There may only be one person.
Yes. Another thing on the list is, on the points list, is how much are you offering for this home? And this is one of the things that make a €1 home to become a not €1 home.
Yeah, but not all the comunes do it like this, but this particular comune is doing it like this. So
Yeah, so pretty much you have that home and you think, okay, maybe I can only afford X amount higher than €1.
well, you may,
That's what you
but
put.
you may only offer €1, but you may offer €10, €1,000, maybe depending on how much you want this house.
Yeah, and because you have no idea how much other people are going to be offering, you have no idea if anyone is offering anything. So that's where I guess there is a bit of a gamble there in that sense. Some comunes and most comunes actually, when someone says yes, I'm going to buy this home, they actually need to pay is like a bond, like a security bond. And in this comune is of €5,000, and that bond is going to be held by the comune, and this bond is going to be held pretty much until you finish the renovations of your house. It's just pretty much like a security for them to know that this person is going to come through.
It really is. It's to show commitment from the buyer, and the comune is putting a lot of time and effort into this process. So, you know, if they just kept people coming along like tire kickers and not, you know, saying, oh yes, I'm going to buy this house, or I'm going to do this, and they don't do anything, and they don't take possession of the house, and they don't renovate it, or they don't come and live in it, that defeats the whole purpose of it. So.
And that's going back to the beginning of the video. This is where the program or where things had been at a standstill, because there are homes that have been awarded, but people haven't paid the bond. So it is unfair. It is unfair to the comune because they've put all the effort into, you know, this particular person and choosing that person, and it's unfair to everyone else that has applied for this home and is not getting it because this person hasn't paid the €5,000. Yes, of course, there is going to be a time where the comune says, okay, this person is not paying, let's do another round, but it's just bad for everyone.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
So the way I see it is like, if you've done your research, if you know that you do want to buy a home in Italy and that you see a particular €1 home and that you're up for it, just apply. Follow the procedure and just apply, because as we said before, if you start asking questions, can you please give me more information? Like, what's that? What's that question? Even with real estate, people email real estate and they say, can I have more information? No, what questions do you have? You know, if you want a precise answer, please ask a precise question. Otherwise, you're going to be too much back and forth. So with the comunes, you may not get an answer. So if you think that you're willing and you have the budget, apply for it. Apply for it, whether you're overseas or whether you want to come here, walk into the comune and ask to speak with someone if you feel like you have to see the house in person. But yeah, the process is simple. The documents are lengthy because, of course, the comune has to protect themselves legally. They want to protect the seller. They want to protect the buyer as well. So yeah, just check through those documents, but pretty much the procedure is like that. And once the person has exchanged on the house and finished the renovation, in particular in this comune, you get your bond back. Some communes may require very high standards, like, okay, no, you have to use local labor, but some communes...
Or you may have to spend X amount of dollars. But this comune is, we feel is very flexible.
Yes.
But you should find out all this information, you know, if you're going to purchase and when you purchase, and make sure you're satisfied with the answers. And I mean, it's not complicated. It's, you know, you've got a house, you're going to have to spend money on it.
One very important thing that we need to mention about the €1 home program is that this is not a pathway for permanent residency
Definitely, this is, yeah.
or citizenship, unless you can gain that some other way. Unless you have a visa that allows you to stay in Italy indefinitely and so on, whether it is a retirement visa or whether it is a nomad's visa like they have introduced or whatever.
Yeah. So this is bit of a problem that we've discussed with this comune and others, and it's something that can only be solved at a federal level, so maybe in Rome or something. So it would be great, but in general, in Italy, probably like most countries, if you're allowed to buy a house in Italy because you have reciprocity with your own country, if you're allowed to buy a house here, it doesn't mean that you get citizenship and
or permit to stay,
permanent residency or anything like that. It just means that you can buy a house. That's it. So then your visa from your country will tell you, or will dictate how long you can stay in Italy. Okay, you might only be able to stay 3 months, or you might be able to stay 6 months, depending on your country. So the €1 program is no different. Unfortunately, it's not. It would be great if they said, buy a €1 program and you can get permanent residency in our town. I mean, that would be good, and I think they could do something like that.
And we will love that, because if these towns are the ones needing the people, why they are allowed to stay? So it's frustrating as well.
They should be doing that. We know they should be doing that, and that's the best way to do it. And you could have a contract where, for example, people could, if they buy a house in that town, they have to live there. That
for
has
10
to be
years.
their residency for 10 years or something. And after 10 years, if someone lives there, they're not going to probably move somewhere else, because that's where their life is going to be.
Just to wrap it up, this is our take. This is what we think. We do not have more information. We cannot give you contacts to fast track your process or anything. We're going through the same channels that you will be going through if you wanted to get some questions answered and so on. We do, however, as I mentioned before, we'll put the information of this particular comune in the description section of this video, and that's it. So unfortunately, if we get more emails about how can we help, how can we do this, and we really, there's nothing else that we can really do.
We can do. If you really like one of these houses that we show, which I'm sure you will, best thing is plan your trip to Italy and just come here and go to the town, go to the comune, find out when the hours are opening hours of the comune, and
make it happen.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, what have you got to lose? You'll see a town that you've never known before, and you'll make a trip and have a good experience.
Have good coffee, feel good meals.
You don't like the town, yeah. If you don't like the house in person, you don't like it. That's, I think, is the best way to do it.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Listening.
Yeah, for watching.
I hope we didn't bore you to death.
Thank you for having coffee and pasticciotto with us this morning.
Yep.
We hope that your day is a great one. We will continue to enjoy beautiful spring in Molise. Actually, did we mention Sant'Elia is in Molise? By the way,
yeah.
we failed to say that.
Sant'Elia?
See.
I got it right.
Yeah.
Sant'Elia is in Molise.
About 50 minutes from Termoli, from the beach.
From the beach. So it is an inland town, but it's very close to one of the biggest lakes, or the biggest lake in this region. The biggest lake in Molise, which is meant to be beautiful. We haven't seen the lake yet.
We haven't. We have to. It was pouring the last time we went there. Yeah. So, okay. Again, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you so much to our patrons for their generosity. Your extra support is humbling and very much appreciated. Are you wanting to have a little piece of Italy with you? If so, remember to visit our merchandise store. We have lots of designs to keep you inspired and working towards your dream. We have a lot more content for you to enjoy. If you would like to continue watching our home tours, please click here. If you would like to see our own home and renovation story, click here. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Ciao!